He mentioned Joe there, Rio Anthony, and there were some Man United fans booing him when he was substituted today. How much longer do you think Erik ten Hag should and will keep faith with him?
I don't know. I mean, you could smell the frustrations, let alone hear it from the away fan, travelling fans. And listen, he's played 11 games this season, 0 goals and 0 assists. From an attacking player, that's not good enough, and that's the hard facts. I mean, you look today, you've got a 35-year-old on the opposite wing in Willian, and if you didn't know their ages and their career path, you'd probably go Willian.
Would you rather have Willian on your team?
You'd probably go Willian on what you're seeing right now. But listen, he has to improve dramatically. I think Garnacho, when Rashford's fit and comes back, which will hopefully be the next game, if Garnacho doesn't start, he's probably sitting there scratching his head. And if Anthony starts ahead of him, and I think that I'd be doing that. And I think that you have to have that competitive edge within the squad. But if you're being kept out of the team by a player, you want to know that that player is actually producing the goods and getting some goals or assists or impacting the game. And at the moment, I think if Anthony does come out of the team, I don't think he could argue.
No. And Mason Mount, Erik ten Hag described him as the perfect midfielder when we signed him. You know, that player's still there. He's had an injury. Sometimes it's difficult when you've been at a club for a long time, like he has to settle in, particularly when it ain't all roses and everything at the club, and you're trying to settle in. But I think if he maybe play Mason in off one side and Marcus off the other side, and I think then you've got to start the makings of an experienced, exciting, power, pace in your front three, and Mason can score goals. We've seen that before, important goals.
But you come in today and you're thinking, surely, that this is a game that's going to suit him. The way Fulham play, this is a game that will suit Mason Mount, and the way he plays, yet he doesn't get into the team. What does that tell us? What does that say to him?
Well, listen, he's coming back from injury, you know, and some, like, again, settling in at a new club can be difficult. But you have to remember, Mason was at Chelsea since 6 years of age. That is just emotionally and mentally and everything you've left behind, and you're going to this new club, and it's massive. You know, it's a huge juggernaut of a club that is, and there's turmoil because you're not winning games, and he's coming into a team that's not playing well, and you get injured. It's difficult, but there's no doubt he's in his quality. I have no qualms about saying he will be a big player for Manchester United at some point, and I think get him in, play him a bit further forward, playing him in off that right hand side, let him settle in. And I think that things could look bright for him.
Do you agree? Do you think he fits in this side? Because a lot of people are saying it's looking like a baffling
He
signing.
can't. Sorry, Lynn. Sorry, he can't play inside with Eriksen, Fernandes, and Mount. You can't play all of the three of them in the midfield. You know, he's going to have to get himself into the team somehow, but he has to play because he's such a talented footballer.
I think that wide right areas, that's the conundrum at the moment for the manager. That there's no one in that area who you're going, he jumps off the page and goes, he's the one who should be playing there. Garnacho seems to prefer it on the left, but I think Garnacho could be one you could put out on the right as well if you want that pace on the outside. But Mason's got, like Joe said, that experience. He knows how to score and create goals. He's done that at the highest level for Chelsea consistently. And I think that takes a little bit of pressure off him. Like he says, in a new club, there's big expectations on him. And playing him in one of the free midfield roles in the middle of the pitch, I think probably adds a bit of pressure that you could probably alleviate by pushing him out on the right-hand side and say, get a bit of freedom to kind of get it chalk on your boots and get wide, or you can come inside and have that freedom. And I think he's got such great end product. Put him there, let him get on the end of a few things and get some confidence and score some goals. And I think you'll get the Mason Mount that we saw in a blue shirt for Chelsea.
Do you think he's regretted his decision at any point to move
not
to
enough
Man
time
United?
yet.
It's not enough time. Listen, in football, you have, you know, the peaks and troughs in football. You know, unless you're an absolute elite player is doing it. You know, he's going to have down periods. You know, there's going to be injuries. You know, like I said, this is a difficult period, and it's a test of his character. You know, but we see him warming up, smiling. You know, wanting to be part of it. Look, I think if I'm playing a game of football and I've got to pick out of these Manchester United players that I've watched, and I needed to win the game to save my career, Mason Mount would be one of them players I would have no qualms about putting into my team, you know, in any position. But I like him at the moment in off the right, just to find his feet at Manchester United. Because we've seen big players go to Manchester United. Seba Varane, who was there when Rio was there, you know, just. It's demanding. It's demands, and you're coming from a new country. Mason not countries, but you can't. You know, it's a big change for him. So he will get there.
Do you know what? And no disrespect to Chelsea, and I don't mean this in any way, but when he was at Chelsea, he was like a golden boy. He came through the ranks there, right? And he never really was on the receiving end of real kind of like scrutiny, negative scrutiny. Should he be here? He's not good enough. He don't fit. And he's never had that in his life really. Yeah. he needed backing from Frank when he was at Derby, and then when he come to Chelsea. But the pressure when you come to Man United, a new club as well. But Man United brings a different kind of weight on shoulders. The badge is heavier when things aren't going well. And he's seeing and feeling that right now. And I just think sometimes players need time. I always think that the first year is never really where you judge a player if they're not really doing it. It's the second year. He's going to be afforded that time. But I think before that, as long as he gets the chances in the right areas of this football club, I think Mason Mount is a surefire bet to make it as a Man United player.
Let's talk a bit about Rasmus Højlund as well, because he was fuming when he was substituted today. Can you understand why he's getting so frustrated at the moment?
I wish we'd had a bit more time. I wish we'd had this time with Erik ten Hag, because he's invested in a player who we're not seeing the best of, and his best attributes are not being seen because the team aren't playing to his strengths. And I think he said that in his press conference a little bit. We need to be a bit more direct. We've got players like Højlund and Rashford who can play on the counter. But I see too many times that they get wide, and the quality from wide areas is nowhere near good enough. Anthony doesn't really want to cross it. I said that before the game. His first instinct to see what he can do for himself. Marcus is more of a striker, wants to get on the end of things as well and wants to finish and stuff. So his second thought is to cross. So when he's making these movements, the ball is being delayed and isn't coming into the areas. He made one fantastic run in the first half, didn't he? And he was screaming for the ball. It didn't come. It ended up being a bad cross from Garnacho. But his idea was to cross the ball. The sooner they get the ball in that box for this guy, he makes good enough runs. I've watched him there today. We both commented on how good his runs are when the ball's wide. Play to his strengths. But he hasn't had time enough here, and he's not old enough yet and experienced enough to be able to go in there and grab a few people and go, listen, you get the ball into me, otherwise I'll come in again half time in the game and you're going to feel the wrath. It doesn't seem he's got that yet. He's not old enough, and I wouldn't expect that yet. Ruud van Nistelrooy, you didn't cross the ball for him. I see players resorted to tears because of the way he treats them. He demands of them. I hope that he gets to that point of demanding from players like that.
Just 20 years old. Is it wrong
young.
anyway that responsibility to be Manchester United's main source of goals is on his shoulders?
First of all, him being disappointed and growling behind the manager when
Love
he gets brought off, I absolutely love it, because that's what you want as a manager. He don't overstep the line, and you can be disappointed. And he's right. He's just got to grow into the role. And it's similar to Mason coming into a team that does not functioning well. You've got expectations. People just think you're going to be the guy that's going to change it around. They both need to like nurture, like simmer, just get better slowly. He's not going to score hat-tricks week in, week out, but he's going to have to get better and improve. Playing a little bit more direct will help him. I think it helps this Manchester United team, particularly in this period of time. How scared would Fulham have been with Tim Ream if they had possession on players like that? Not to dig him out, but he's 36, and him constantly on his shoulder looking all the time. But they never look forward early enough, I don't think, because he does make some good runs. But it will come. I'm sure they will, as the players learn about each other's games.